There's so much money in here. I just need money right now. There's so much stuff I want to buy online. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Oh, wait. I have money in the bank that I can use. What am I doing? Silly Mrs. Lawson. What am I doing? Hey, fourth graders. I'm being a little silly today. I know you all have, do you have money banks anymore? Or piggy banks anymore? I don't know. We have a piggy bank here, but I also have money in the bank, and that is what we are learning about today. Not just piggy banks, but the real bank. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen today and go ahead and get started on lesson 2. Yesterday, we learned about how we make money. Now we got to figure out what we do with the money once we make it. Vocabulary today. You know me, I got to use some examples from Lunch Money. It's one of my favorite books. So today our 2 words actually go together. So it's charge, it's a verb. So somebody charges a fee. So if you charge somebody, I have a little picture here from Greg's lemonade stand and Mara's lemonade stand. And my question for you is, who charges less money for their lemonade? Is it Greg or is it Mara? Who charges less money? Well, it's obviously Mara, right? 20 cents is cheaper or less than Greg. So if you're charging, that's a verb. It means you're saying you owe me this money if you want what I'm giving. So that is to charge somebody. A fee. Now that is what somebody has to pay to get it. So a fee is an amount of money that people pay in exchange for a service. So here I put a picture with the money because they have to give you that fee to get the lemonade. So you charge them. That's what you're saying. I expect you to pay me this, but until they give you that fee, they don't get what you're selling. So those words kind of go hand in hand today. So I challenge you, still make 2 different sentences, but could you use them in the same sentence? That might be kind of cool. Take that to your teacher today and impress them. That would be so cool. What am I learning today? We're learning the same thing as we did in the video from yesterday. We are analyzing the main idea and key details. And I feel like you know what I'm going to say. Pause the video right now. Make your own organizer with your main idea and your 3 key details. Pause that screen if you need some more time. But we're going to keep on going, fourth graders, because you know the drill by now. Table of contents. I didn't do the arrows today because we know we are on the next one. Today we're going to do how do banks work? So we're focusing on the banks. Why is saving important? So we're focused on how do banks work and why is saving important? And I don't think we're going to get, let's check what pages. Yep, we're only going to page 15, so we are not getting to what is a checking account used for yet. Not there yet. Again, if we need to, there is a glossary if there's any words that we need to go look up. It is in the slideshow from yesterday if you need to go look up some words that you don't know. But I'm ready to start reading. Let me get my arrow ready. How do banks work? People use banks to keep their money safe or borrow money to buy things such as homes and cars. Banks also lend money to people by providing them with credit cards. A bank is also a business, like a restaurant or a movie theater. Like any business, banks have to pay the people who work there. Banks also have to pay for things like electricity and internet service. Most important, banks need to make more money than they spend so they can stay in business. So I never really thought of it like that a bank is a business. And let's think of what is an example of how a bank is a business, like a restaurant. How are they the same? Well, in a restaurant, they have like waitresses that bring you the food, right? Well, in a bank, they have people at the desks helping you. So in both cases, those people who run the business have to pay them, right? We learned yesterday, you have to get paid for your job. So that's how it is like a business. So this down here is super cool because it shows you how a bank works. So we're going to start at number 1. first thing you have to do for a bank to work is you have to deposit. You have to put in that money. So if I'm thinking about this piggy bank, first thing you got to do for it to work is you got to put that money inside. Put that money in the bank. Now, what's different than a piggy bank is, in a piggy bank, it just sits there. That's not how it works in a bank. In a bank, the bank now takes your money and it loans your money to other people. Kind of crazy, right? The bank loans your money to people so they can buy a house or go to college. The bank charges them money. So think of how Greg charges for his lemonade and Mara charges for her lemonade. They charge people to use their money. They charge interest on the money that they loan. Now, step 3, with the money it earns, the bank pays its employees, they pay its bills, such as a phone service. Now, up here, step 4, the bank pays you interest also, since it borrowed your money. With the money left over, the bank starts the cycle again. Kind of crazy, right? I didn't know when I put my money into a bank, they were using it for other stuff. All right, how do banks make money? So we're gonna stop, we got that focus question, and it says, how does the sidebar, so right here, this is the sidebar, help us understand how banks make money? So we're not even gonna worry about that until we get there. And then why, and I have it underlined, do you think, so this is gonna be an inference we have to make. Why do you think banks charge the loan customer a higher rate of interest than it pays to the depositor? That's a tricky question. So it's basically saying if they use my money to help Mrs. Getz, they're going to charge Mrs. Getz more than what they pay me. Why do they do that? Where does that extra money go? Interesting stuff. When people deposit or put money in a bank, and I think that's cool because I love when they give you the definition right there. You don't even have to go look for it. So deposit is a synonym for put money in a bank. It's the same thing. When people deposit the money, it does not stay in one place until they come back for it. Banks use their customers' money to bring in revenue or income, so they use it. Banks make most of their money through loans. They lend people money and they charge a fee called interest. So we're going to see the below to learn how interest works. So we're going to pause and we're going to go follow those directions. To figure out how interest is owed, you change the interest rate percentage to a decimal and use the following equation. So the amount borrowed. So we're going to pretend that someone borrows $10,000. Whoa, right? So that's down here. We borrowed $10,000. And every year, so it has at an annual rate, it charges them 5%. So every year I don't pay back that money, I have to pay extra. So they're going to multiply it by this 5%, but they changed it to a decimal. And that equals, oh my goodness, that means every year I don't pay the bank back, I owe them $500 more. That's crazy. So at the end of the year, this person owes $10,000 plus $500 more just for borrowing the money. Pretty crazy. The exact percentage a bank charges is called the interest rate. Since the bank is borrowing its customers' money to make these loans, it pays interest to the customer on the money deposit. The banks make money by charging their loan customer a higher rate of interest than they pay to the depositor who provided the money. So how does this little calculating interest help us understand how banks make money? It shows me that if I wanted to borrow $10,000, the bank's going to earn $500 a year off of me if I don't pay them back. That's crazy. They didn't even do anything, right? By borrowing from them, if I don't give them the money back just in a year, they earn $500. It's kind of crazy how that works, isn't it? So every year, a 5% rate on $10,000 is $500. So pretty cool for the bank. Then banks make money. So why do we think banks charge the loan customer higher than the person who deposited the money? So basically, they're going to make $500 off Mrs. Getz, right? If I loaned her that $10,000, Mrs. Getz has to pay $500, but I'm only going to get like $100 of that because my rate that I make off my money isn't as high as what they're charging Mrs. Getz. So Mrs. Getz is going to lose $500, but I only earned $100. Where does that $400 go? Who do you think gets to keep it? You're totally right. The bank gets to keep the difference between what they owe versus what I make. So it's really cool for them. They get to make all that extra money. I know it's kind of complicated stuff, but you guys are hanging in there and I love it. Can a bank go out of business? Because they said they're a business, right? Just like a bookstore or ice cream shop, a bank can go out of business if it runs out of money and cannot pay its employees or its regular expenses. With a bank, this can happen if people do not pay back money that they have borrowed. The bank loses the money it loaned, as well as the interest. Between January 2008 and March 2010, over 200 U.S. banks went out of business. They ran out of money after people stopped paying back their home loans. The case study on Washington Mutual gives an example of what happened. So banks can go out of business if they don't have many customers. So that's another reason. What happens to your money if your bank goes out of business? That's kind of scary. If your bank is insured by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, FDIC, you will most likely get all of your money back. The FDIC currently insures money up to $250,000 per depositor in each bank. This means the government will pay back everything you deposit in each insured bank, up to $250,000 per bank. So if the bank goes out of business, if it's insured, if they are covered, then you're okay. You'll get all your money back. So down here, this is what they talked about on the other page. Between 2003 and 2007, Washington Mutual made it very easy for people to borrow money to buy a house. Washington Mutual offered special loans called adjustable rate mortgages, which made low interest rates and low monthly payments. Then the interest rates increased and homeowners could not afford the new monthly payments. Thousands of people stopped paying back their loans. So Washington Mutual lost millions of dollars. In September 2008, Washington Mutual ran out of money. The FDIC took control of Washington Mutual and sold it to J.P. Morgan Chase, a bank that was not going out of business. So sometimes when they change what they're charging people, people can't afford it. Ooh, why is saving important? So they got a piggy bank too in this picture. Saving money is not easy, but the benefits are worth it. Have you ever borrowed money from your parents or your brother or sister? Then you know what it feels like to be in debt or to owe money. It is not fun. If you borrow from your brother, you might have to give him all your allowance until you pay him back. It is better to learn the habit of saving. Then you can pay for things on your own, even if they come up unexpectedly. Does saving mean you can never buy treats or go to the movies? No, it just means you learn to think beyond right now. Keep in mind that you are saving for a specific item. Remember that emergencies happen and opportunities come up. If you've been saving money all along and get the chance to go to an amusement park, you're more likely to have enough money to go. If you've been spending all your money, you might have to say no. And then down here, that caption, find your own special place to start saving money. For example, you can use a shoebox or a piggy bank. All right, so this cool thing up at the top just shows you at age 8, if you put aside $3 every month until you were 18, so for 10 years, you would have $360. And then same thing, if you were 8 years old and you put $5 aside every month until you were 18, you'd have $600. Or if you just started saving when you were 8 until you were 18 and you put $10 aside every month, you would have $1,200. Holy moly, $10 every month until you were 18, you'd have $1,200. That's crazy. So saving a little each month can really add up. That caption down at the bottom. If you are saving for a specific item, such as a remote control car or a puppy, put a picture of what you want on your bedroom wall. Every time you see it, you will remember your goal. Such a good idea. A bank can help. Most banks will allow children to open their own savings account. Some require a parent's name on the account until you reach a certain age. There are many reasons to open a savings account at a bank. First, your money cannot get lost or stolen. If you pick a bank that is FDIC insured, you will get your money back if the bank goes out of business. Second, you are less likely to spend your money if it is out of reach. Finally, your money will grow faster in a savings account because the bank will pay you interest in exchange for using your money. The interest rate will be a percentage, just like it is on money that is borrowed. Look for a bank that offers compound interest, which means you earn money on the balance in your account plus the interest you already earned. So same thing down here. We've got when you were 8, if you did $3, $5, or $10. But instead of just putting it in the piggy bank, you're in a bank and you get 5% interest. So instead of just having your own money, you get that interest. So if you did the $3, you'd make $475. If you did the $5 a month, you'd make $792. If you did that $10 a month, you'd make $1,584. Crazy. Putting your money in a savings account with compound interest can help it grow faster. Compare the totals in this chart with the totals in the chart on page 13. So if you look at just this one alone, we're at 1,584 and you're only at 1,200. So you make about $380 more just by putting it in a bank. When you are saving, you want a high interest rate. When you are borrowing, you want a low interest rate. Because when you're borrowing, you have to pay it. When you're saving, you earn it. Ooh, and this made me make a connection. So good readers are always making connections. We're always thinking about other things we've read or things in our real life. This made me think of lunch money because it said if you put your money in a bank, you're never going to lose it. And this made me think of when Greg's dad told him, your money will be safe at the bank and it will be there when you need it, like when you go to college. Greg said, but can I get my money out before then? Like if I see something I need at a yard sale? His dad nodded. You're allowed to get your money anytime you want, but if you take the money out of the bank, then the money won't grow. Grow? You mean earn interest, right? So it's so crazy because you guys have already learned a little bit about this in lunch money, and you didn't even know it, or maybe you did, but I just thought it was cool because I made a connection. All right. Helpful hints. Here are the questions to ask before you open a savings account. Is the bank FDIC insured? Do I have to keep a minimum balance in my account? Do you offer compound interest? What is the interest rate? And do you charge fees to open or maintain the account? If you do not have a savings account, ask your parents to help you open one. You can deposit whatever money you have saved. Guys, we learned a lot of cool stuff today, but we're going to just focus on page 10 today for our organizer. So let's pop back to page 10. Ooh, on page 10, it's all about what? Where do we look? At the heading. It says, can a bank go out of business? So instead of putting a question as our main idea, we're going to put it as a statement. We're going to put a bank can go out of business. So on the top of yours, go ahead and put that a bank can go out of business. Bank can go out of business. All right, guys, pause if you need more time, but I am ready to roll. A bank can go out of business. Next, we're going to talk about what are some ways that a bank can go out of business. It says just like a bookstore and ice cream shop, a bank can go out of business if it runs out of money and cannot pay its employees or its regular expenses. So that is the first thing I'm going to write down, this first little part right here. I'm going to say a bank goes out of business. Bank goes out of business if it runs out of money and can't pay its employees. I kind of ran out of room. I didn't put that last part about the regular expenses, but I just put a bank can go out of business if it runs out of money and can't pay its employees, because if you're not getting paid, they're probably not going to keep working. So pause that screen if you need a little bit more time. My arrow is right there on that fact too. So totally got that. Next, a bank can run out of money. How? So it says right here, this can happen if people do not, here we go, if people do not pay back money that they have borrowed. So we're going to write that. A bank can run out of money if people do not pay back the money they borrow. Because they don't just lose the money that they borrowed, they also lose the interest. Again, I don't have that much room on my board, so I'm not going to write this whole thing, but if you have room, you should. We're going to write, if people do not pay back the money they have borrowed, the bank loses the money it loaned as well as the interest, so it loses a lot of money. Pause if you need more time, but we're going to keep on rolling. Next, we're going to talk about down when banks did lose a lot of money, so down here. So it says between January 2008 and March 2010, over 200 US banks went out of business. That is crazy. And it's because people stopped paying back their home loans. So let's go ahead and write that. Between January, I'm going to put just JAN, January 2008, I'm going to put a dash, and March, 2008 and March 2010. Oh my gosh, over 200 banks went out of business. Because people stopped paying back their home loans. Oh my gosh. I'm so out of room, guys. Paying back loans. I'm not going to have room for the whole thing, but it's right there with that arrow. And it says, oh my gosh, I can't see with the board. Stop paying back their home loans. So I'm going to keep on rolling. If you need more time, pause it right now. The arrow should help you. And now, again, guys, we finished that whole organizer together. You did amazing. And now you can write your own summary of the text. Y'all are killing it. So at the very end today, we have a journal entry like always. So I challenge you, what are some reasons to open a savings account? Use at least 2 examples from page 14. So I'm going to scroll to page 14 to end today, and I want you to look for 2 details of why or some reasons to open a savings account. You guys did an amazing job today, as always, and I've loved being able to read with you. Keep on rocking and have an amazing day. Bye, 4th graders.